What is going on, people? Welcome to a review of Huskii and Chillinit's 4 Days EP. Not 4 days in a trap, just 4 days. I believe they named this 4 days because they made this, written and recorded this all in 4 days, I believe. And yeah, Huskii and Chillinit are no strangers to working with each other. We've seen them feature on tracks before together. We've seen them make music together, creating one of my favorite tracks to come out from Australia, which is Dust to Dust. And so, you know, we know that they've been good friends for a while. We know that they've had good chemistry for a hot minute. Obviously Huskii then got locked up. I know Chill helped a lot with Huskii's financial situation, especially, and just being there for him while he was locked up. And then obviously Huskii got freed up, and yeah, they made this EP, and so this drops right at the end of 2019. And I listened to it twice over. First track coming in, 1,000 Enemies, which is probably my favorite track from the EP overall. You know, of course, Chill coming in with that wordplay, as we always hear, you know, both showing very clean flows, sitting in the pocket of the drums nicely, and just showing great chemistry, as well as them being great friends in real life. They're able to show that within the music here, doing these back-to-backs, whether it be 4, 8 bars, 1 bar each. Like, it was just cold seeing that. Something I didn't think Huskii would really work with well, but he surprised me, admittedly. I feel like it was a great intro to the EP. I feel like the little sample thing that they used at the start was a great way. It was just a great way to start a 5-track EP and kind of just set the tone for the other 4 tracks to follow. Only thing you could possibly say is that the tempo suited Chillinit that little bit more. I felt like Huskii was spitting a little faster than to what he's used to doing, but that does come full circle, and I'll talk about that in a moment. Second track was Marijuana and Bust Downs, and I did my reaction to the actual video on the channel yesterday, so if you want to go check that out, feel free to do so. And yeah, I mean, I still stand by pretty much everything I said. One thing I didn't talk about was the instrumental itself. The drums on this track were top quality, and the sample that they used was really pleasing to listen to. Track number 3, Same Story, Different Beat. This was a standout performance from Huskii. I feel like Huskii won up Chill on this track, in my opinion anyway. It took more of a personal side, and Huskii just seemed a little bit more natural on this track as opposed to the first 2. Not to say that Huskii was out of his place in the first 2, not to say that at all, but just definitely just seemed a little, that touch more comfy with the instrumental and just the subject matter in general. Now, Huskii tells a story that you would only understand if you lived it, and he mentioned this on his Instagram yesterday. A couple people added me and was just like, he's adding you. I don't think he was, but yeah, he basically was just like, look, until you've walked in my shoes, don't chat shit about me, basically, and that makes plenty of sense. So if that was directed at me in any way, shape or form, of course I meant nothing in a bad way in what I said in my reaction, but regardless, I don't think it was. But I do agree with Huskii ultimately, you know, until you've walked in his shoes, you can't judge the man for what he's saying. Then we got track number 4, and it definitely was my favorite song of the EP up until Chill coming. And this is harsh, and I mean this with love from the bottom of my heart for Chill, but I feel like he could have come harder in this track. Like, it wasn't the best side of Chillinit. It definitely wasn't. It wasn't Chillinit standard, in my opinion. Maybe people will disagree with me. Maybe people will disagree with me. Maybe the artists themselves will disagree with me, but I just feel like Chill could have come harder. I listened to that track in specific 3 times over, and I just feel like Huskii was just levels above Chill on this track in particular. The hook was okay, but again, a little bit lackluster in my opinion. I agree with what they're saying though. Don't get me wrong, like the subject matter and what they're talking about, sick. All for it. Just how it was delivered, I don't know. It just felt a bit, it fell a bit flat for me. Now, I said in track number 1, 1,000 Enemies, that the tempo suited Chill a little bit more. I felt like in this track, the tempo suited Huskii, and maybe that's where my mind is made up, maybe, perhaps, I don't know. I just felt like Chill was stretching his syllables too long, and that naturally comes from, well, grime MCs who normally rap over rap hip-hop beats. If you hear a boom bap artist try to spit on drum and bass, you're gonna hear them struggle. If you hear a drum and bass artist spit on boom bap, they're typically gonna struggle. And not to say that Chill sounded like he struggled, but it just didn't sound as natural to me. I don't know, that's just the feeling I got. And again, am I chatting shit? Probably, but that's just how I feel at the time of listening to this. And then you have track number 5, which almost didn't belong on this EP in some ways. Like, 4 days, 4 tracks. Track number 5 seemed very different. It had a whole different vibe, but I'm kind of all for it, and it definitely had the correct place. I feel like if this was placed in anywhere between 1 and 4, I don't think it would have fit in. But the fact that it was the last track, it just kind of just took this old school twist, and I liked it. It's the kind of track that Forte would hop on ultimately. And speaking of Forte, I'm going to do an album review to his over the next few days, but obviously Christmas coming. Yeah, just be a bit patient with that one. And I know that Chill and Husky both featured on that album. Not sure if they featured on the same track or not, but they definitely featured on that album. Obviously talking about Biggie, and then it being a Biggie type beat, you know, it kind of made sense there. The track was all right, to be fair. It was that weird blend that I talked about in Marijuana and Bust Downs, where, you know, they're talking about personal shit whilst flexing at the same time. Like, there was a couple quotables in here from both Chill and Husky that were cold. I had to reload that shit because the opening bars were cold. And again, that same subject matter of, you know, going through personal shit, going through real life, but they're trying to make this money and they're trying to flex that. And you know, obviously I made my comments about, well, it contradicts itself and this falls into what Husky put on social media. But at the end of the day, as track number 4 said, they come from nothing and they've made it work. So they have every right to flex their money. So overall, the 4 Days EP, I enjoyed it. It's a good EP. But despite it being good, I mean, for me personally, Husky and Chillinit are in my top 5 artists from Australia. And there's a lot of artists, and they are in my top 5 for very good reason. But they didn't give me a top 5 performance across the board. I feel like 1,000 Enemies and Same Story Different Beat were definitely at the standard I expect from them, if not that little bit more. Marijuana and Bust Downs is kind of that benchmark in my opinion. That's exactly what I expect from them. And then Made It Work and Big Stacks, I enjoyed, and I did enjoy it. It's not that I don't like it. I'm not even saying it's bad. I actually enjoy it, but I didn't enjoy it as much as most of their other work. So if we compare this EP to other artists and what everybody else has done, it's still in my top tier of projects. But if we compare it to Chillinit and Husky previous work, it's not as high as the middle of the list, in my opinion. But just to be clear, this is not a bad EP. It's a good EP in my opinion, but it's not their best work, and I feel like they can do better. Now, of course, that is very harsh for me to say considering they made this in such a short space of time. Obviously, I would be way more disappointed if this was a full album made over the span of 2 years. This is a 5-track EP made over 4 days. Again, I could be wrong, but I'm 99% sure that's why it's called 4 days. And so it would be extremely, extremely out of line for me to just turn around and say this is shit, which it isn't. I enjoy it, but they can do better. And that's just me being nitpicky, really. To be honest, just enjoy it for what it is. It's a decent EP. There's a few things that I do disagree with though, and that's some of the public comments that I've seen. Some people have DM'd me or commented on my video or even commented on theirs and said that it's a Chillinit featuring Husky EP rather than the both of them. I disagree with that. I feel like over the span of 5 tracks, it was definitely more balanced. I did say on my reaction to Marijuana and Bust Downs that it felt like a Chillinit featuring Husky track, and I still stick by that. But across all 5 tracks, I felt like there was a very even split. I've also seen others say that Chillinit especially has kind of lost himself and he's changed, and it's like, well, yes and no. Yes, the man has changed, as does everybody. Everybody grows. His situation is different to when he made the Butterfly remix. You know what I mean? There's gonna be progression, and if this is the direction that he wants to take his music, then so be it. You've also got to keep in mind that this is a joint EP, not a Husky piece of work, not a Chill project. This is a collaborative project. So when you put them both together, they have to find a middle ground and a style that suits them both. And in my opinion, they nail that style here. I've seen 1 or 2 ridiculous comments saying that they're making this music to try and be mainstream. I can't disagree any more than that. If anything, it is the opposite of mainstream pop music. And so yeah, I feel like there's some people just hopping on a bandwagon to hate them as quickly as possible, and I feel like that's very unfair on them. The only thing that I would agree with, to a certain extent at least, is that they can do better. And again, that's not, from my point of view, I'm not saying that it is a bad I keep saying the same thing over again, but I keep saying it because I genuinely mean it, and I just want to be very clear on my thoughts and opinions. I'm looking forward to Chillinit dropping his album in the new year, something I'm really genuinely excited for. And I know that Husky has had a change in his situation with his court case. Forgive me if I am incorrect here, but I believe that there's more evidence proving that Huskii is actually innocent and not guilty. I believe that's right. I don't know any more than that, so I'm not going to comment anymore, but I believe that his situation is looking ever so slightly better now, because I know he's had problems with performing and putting things out and etc, etc. So I hope that his situation continues to improve, and I hope that we continue to see more music from him. Anyway guys, let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Feel free to go check out this EP for yourself if you haven't already. Go support the artists themselves, of course, and appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll talk to you man later.